70-year-old kid chap, and he's doing amazing every time he picks up a pen to put his thoughts in a book or on a pad or anything. Well, I like to call him the kid with a Midas touch because everything he touches is something else. Gilbert, how are you doing?
Doing great, thank you.
Okay, so let me first start off finding out, do you have any background or formal training in script writing?
I have none really. The best I can say is that I watch movies, series, and cartoons on TV and I write them, but no formal training.
You write what you watch.
I write what I would like to see on TV and what I believe would entertain people.
Okay, okay. You started writing at the age of 4. That is when you realized you had an interest in it.
Yes, it was when I was watching Titanic and then at the ending I disagreed with the ending. So I rewrote it that Jack lived.
You rewrote your own Titanic. Where is it?
Oh, unfortunately, that one it was verbal writing.
So tell me, you Slave King. What is it all about?
Who sent you?
When mortals like you rule with terror, many will seek your death.
In order to explain the story to you, you have to explain the world that was created through the slave king. In this world, it's like a past version of Africa, but it's not really the Africa we know today. We created a new Africa with new tribes and a new language, so that way we could have creative freedom and not have any conflict with history, so that way we could get away with any discrepancies that could have been put in there. So in this new Africa, there are 6 villages in one forest, the forest that we've chosen, and the village is Wasuta. As a whole, they are called Wasuta. And they are all ruled by one king, Lord Grada. Yes, so Lord Grada is a tyrannical king, and his people don't really like him because of how wicked he is. So several people attempt to assassinate him. And on one attempt, he loses several of his guards, and then he sends his 5 best to go and capture more and enslave them so that they will be trained to become his new guards. Now then, when they go and do this, that's when they go and meet with the main character, Guru. Guru is taking care of his farm, and then these people come, so he has to run away with his family. But unfortunately, they capture him, and eventually they capture his fiancée.
Okay.
Yes, so then they both have to work together to escape from Lord Grada. Yeah, that's the best I can say without ruining the experience of watching it for you.
So you don't want to give them everything in there.
Oh no.
What really triggered this? Where did you get this idea from? Do you love history?
Yes, actually.
Is that what you're doing in school? Because I know you're in school.
Not anymore. During my IGCSE period, I did history.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you wrote this. Apart from writing, did you play any other role in getting the film out there?
Unfortunately, not this time. This time, due to my upcoming IGCSE exams at the time, the best I could do was be the story writer. I was so busy, I couldn't even write the script on my own, so someone had to do it for me.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, apart from writing, you didn't play anything because of school. Now, tell me, of all the stories you have written, why do you take the pain in seeing Slave King put into motion pictures?
It was actually a long thought process. We had 4 movies we were deciding on, and Slave King won at the end of the day because we believed it would be the one that would catch people's attention the most because it was different from the other 3 movies. They were set in modern Ghana, but this one was set in back in the day Africa. So then, due to the difference in setting, we chose that one in order to captivate the audience.
And you believe that this is a must-see film?
Oh, it is.
Who and who are in it?
We have Fred Amugi playing Lord Grada, Jose Talbot playing Guru, Edina Matache as Grada's wife, and we are introducing a new actress in the form of Sandra Osei Inti as the love interest of Guru.
Okay. Well, that's good because not a lot of people want to introduce new faces. And you did this presentation to these actors yourself?
Not quite.
But you were there. You're part of the presentation.
I was.
How did they feel, or how did they see you when they knew they were picking up a script being written by a 17-year-old chap?
They were at the time I was 15. I was 15, and they knew that I had written the story originally when I was 11. So they were quite impressed, really, and they were excited to be a part of the project.
So this project was done in 2015. It was like 2 years ago.
No, we began in 2015, but we didn't shoot until last year.
You didn't. So it took a whole year to finish this project.
Yes.
It must have been a long thing, or I mean, a stressful work. I mean, but yes, you weren't there anyway. You weren't on set, but. So how are you feeling when you're in school and they were giving you feedbacks that this is what is going on, this is what is happening? How was it feeling like?
Um, I didn't receive much feedback when I was in school, so that way I could focus on my exams. But then during the Easter break, I got to go home and I told mommy, I said, I want to go to the set. I want to see what's happening with Slave King. So then she took us there and I was able to see what was happening with my own eyes.
Who directed this film?
I was directed by Divine Jones.
Divine Jones. Okay. Okay. Now let's get back to. I can see you have some parts here. Okay, and I want to presume that these are stories you've written.
Yes, they all are. Every story in this book is something original I came up with.
How many stories have you written so far ever since you started writing?
Well, since I started, I can't say it's 300 yet, but it's over 200.
Over 200 stories.
Yes.
Where do you get your ideas from? Because then it means Slave King was written when you're 11. You did the pitching to the actors and the actresses when you're 15. You're part of the presentation. Where do you get all these ideas from, Gilbert?
It actually depends. It can come from anything. An example is this comic book of mine here, Adventures in Pennsylvania.
Oh, you do comics too?
Yes, I do a lot. I do series, movies, novels, poetry, cartoons, and comics. Yes. And Pennsylvania, actually, the idea came to me because it was originally about stick figures, but then I saw my pencil case and then I decided, oh, let's use pencils. Let me use pencils instead. So then I made a world where everybody is a pencil, at least in this city. Everyone in this city is a pencil. The buildings are pencils. So then that was what inspired me for Adventures in Pennsylvania. But it could be anything really.
Okay, so Pennsylvania, not the Pennsylvania we know in the United States of America. Pennsylvania as in pencils.
Yes.
Wow. Wow. Do you do English in school? As an elective?
Oh, as an elective, it's actually compulsory for everybody.
Oh, okay. Okay, where you are is compulsory, so it's not like you have the luxury of choosing it for an elective or not. Because I'm wondering the way you're able to, I mean, couch the words and all that. So Slave King, you gave it a title.
It was teamwork.
It was teamwork.
Yeah.
But what was the original title you had for it when you're writing the story?
The original title I had was After the Hurricane.
After the hurricane.
Yes.
Okay. So exactly what is the core message are you trying to get out there with the film Slave King?
The message I'm trying to get out there is, even though slavery isn't there today, that you can see it for yourself in the form that someone is being put in shackles and taken away, it still exists. Whether in the form of mental slavery or not, slavery is still out there. If you find yourself in a situation where you don't feel like you're in control of your own actions and you just don't know what to do to get out of that difficult situation, at the end of the day, there's always a way out. That's what Slave King is trying to talk about. And I myself had to think about this earlier this year when I was going through some trouble myself. I was feeling like I wasn't in control of my life, so I was very conflicted at this point in time. And then I had to sit down with mommy and talk to her, and then she told me to listen to my own advice from Slave King.
Okay. So you have had a personal experience where you sorted help from Slave King as to what to do. Well, that's good. Now, you want to be, that's what you want to pursue after school, right? That's what you want to do professionally.
This is what I want to do professionally, but I don't want to wait until after school.
Okay, so you started it. Are you aware that people in this industry here in Ghana are complaining that there isn't enough money to be made in this, in this art?
I have heard, but then at the end of the day, I don't really care about that because I'm in it for the passion that I have for writing and the joy that it gives me to write and to see that people have been entertained by what I did.
How are mom and dad taking it?
Oh, they are quite supportive. My whole family has been very supportive of me. And I'm sure they will be supportive of me when I decide to go out there and compete in Hollywood in order to prove that Ghana can compete with them in the film industry.
that's your goal.
My goal at the end of the day is to be known or at least cited as the best writer by at least one person. I want to have that recognition at least once as the best author in the world.
So, like you said, you have other. Do you have novels? Like you showed me Pennsylvania. There's a comic book, and it has come to reality. Do you have a novel that you have printed out, like as a finished project?
Unfortunately, not. The first one I was working on back in 2011, I finished. I got close to finishing it, but I wasn't happy with where I had gotten in it, so I decided to wait and rewrite it. And unfortunately, I haven't had the time to get back to that one since, because new stories keep on popping up and work keeps on coming. And then I got to work on Slave King in Pennsylvania, so I didn't have time to dedicate to those novels.
Did you do them concurrently, like at the same time, the two?
I did both at the same time.
You did both at the same time.
Yes.
You amaze me.
Where did you find this woman?
Far away from the waterfall, my dear.
Get her washed down.
Well, you are the mother of Gilbert.
Yes.
How many of his stories have you read so far?
Can I even count? But I think I've done more than 20.
So he has more than 20 stories.
Yes,
written.
yes. There's some that he's actually finished with the script. Some he's still writing the script. He has so many. Sometimes I even lose count. Wow. He has so many.
He realized he started writing at the age of 4.
Yes.
11 years he wrote this film, Slave King. And he has, like you're saying, he has other stories. So why, I'm sure you're part of the team who decided that let's put Slave King into motion pictures. Yes. Why Slave King?
Okay, the production team thought that it was very special out of the lot. Although there was another one that he wrote at 12, which was equally very good. But they thought that this one, because of the way, the nature, they said it was epic adventure, and they thought at this time it would be different from all the other ones that are on the market. So they thought that we should bring this one first before we bring his other stories.
You funded this project. Yes. How much did you sink into this?
About 82,000 cedis.
82,000 Ghana cedis. Is this something you had an interest to do? Is this something you have already thought of wanting to, sink your money into? Or it was because you saw how passionate he was?
It was because I saw how passionate he was and also how good the stories were. Because I'm almost like a perfectionist, and usually when I'm watching a movie, etc., sometimes I pick out a few things, but then when I read his stories, I saw that the stories were very good. I even put him in touch with Shelley Frimpong-Manso, and she was equally amazed at his talent at that age, that he was able to write those stories, etc. So it was even Shelley who said he should learn how to write scripts as well, and he did that on the internet by himself. Yes, he did that on the internet by himself, and now he writes his own scripts and all that. Yeah.
Are you expecting to have gains? Because you're aware that this industry, I don't know if Shirley told you that, there isn't a lot of money in this industry. Are you expecting gains from it?
I'm not really expecting gains. If I break even or I get even 80% of the money, I have taken that money as my seed money into what he wants to do in future, because I see that he's really passionate about it. He can hear a bird chirping and come out with a story. Everything gives him stories. So initially, I used to even wake him up every morning, but I've stopped waking him up except on Sundays when we have to go to church, because sometimes he writes at 5 a.m., etc. And I had the opportunity of reading one novel he's writing, and I was really amazed myself. I was amazed. I wasn't sure if that was my son that had written that. Yeah. So I just want to put it in as a seed money.
Had it not been your son, and someone approached you, the person has equally beautiful story or even much beautiful story, exciting story, would you have decided to sink in that amount of money? Or would you have even decided to get on board at all?
I don't think so. The only way, I don't have money. I actually had to go and liquidate my treasury bill for this. So it's not like I have money and I wanted to do it, but I realized his passion and the rate at which he was writing the stories. It had to start coming out. Otherwise, at a point, there'll be just too many stories to choose from. So even this one, we struggled. Choosing even the first four to choose the Slave King out, we struggled because he has so many movies written. poems and all that. Just so many. So I knew we had to start doing something. Otherwise, it would get too accumulated.
Gilbert, all the best. Aye. You never cease to amaze me. What don't I know about you?
I have a poetry anthology that I'm working to get out there by the end of this year.
You do poetry, you do. Okay, good. All the best. All the best.